Sean C. says the chickens will come home to roost on Sunday. The game will be decided by Jake Elliott's leg. I trust Jake Elliott. All of you people who have been going out of your way now the entire season and this postseason.
No, he missed an extra point. Somebody fire Jake Elliott into the sun. Go find a scrub kicker. What an absolute disgrace. I can't believe the Eagles didn't go get a new kicker this season. What a mess. Just wait till it costs you in the playoffs.
Shut the hell up. You stop. This man and his majestic leg have helped to lead your team to another Super Bowl. You show him some respect. Now, I get it. Kickers can have a precipitous fall off. Some of the best kickers in the history of the National Football League have just fallen apart. It happens. Jake Elliott's not that guy. Sometimes a kicker just needs to get their head back on straight. You know, remember earlier in the playoffs,
Jake Elliott, he missed a couple extra points.
He made all the ones that count 3. He made all of the kicks that count for 3 points. I missed a couple of the ones that count for 1. And maybe that ultimately led to things being a little bit closer, a little bit too close for comfort. But when it comes to Sunday, he's kicking in a dome. Jake Elliott's going to hit like a 50-something yarder. He's going to silence all you people. And then on Monday, when we're basking in the glow of a Super Bowl win, I'm going to say, hey, remember how you people shit on Jake Elliott? How's that looking now? Now, I do acknowledge that will probably become a clip from Video Guy Amadeo. And in the event that the Eagles lose or Jake Elliott blows it, I'm going to get dunked on a lot. But that's how much I believe in Jake Elliott. And you should too. The man has been clutch his entire run as an Eagle. You don't turn your back on somebody who's been clutch. You don't turn your back on somebody who's given everything they have. Sean C. with a bold prediction for Sunday says the Eagles will do something in this Super Bowl that the last 2 Eagles teams in the Super Bowl haven't done. Force the opposition to punt the ball. Ooh, that's a good point. I think you're right. And if they don't force them to punt, it's going to be because the Eagles defense is forcing takeaways. The one thing that makes Sunday's game a lot closer is if this opportunistic defense somehow fails to force turnovers on Sunday. But they have gotten better at forcing turnovers in the playoffs, and I'd say they were even in the regular season. They continue to find ways to get additional possessions, get the ball right back to the offense. If that were to stop on Sunday, all right, well, then it's certainly going to be a closer game. JH with ESGLES Eagles. I think it was ELGSES Eagles, according to the mayor. Brandon Ficara says, speaking of requisite amount of love, there should be murals of Howie all over the town. All right, listen, I may have been wrong about Howie Roseman's offseason. I may have been. Did Howie Roseman benefit from picking 2 stud corners who have done everything to not look like rookies this year? Maybe. Did Howie get very lucky that they went and found Zach Bond on a scrap heap and Vic Fangio turned him into an all-pro? Maybe. Did Howie Roseman defy most people's logic and go out and spend money on a guy who ended up being the leading rusher in the league? He did. Now, are all of those just on Howie? No. Saquon having the success that he is definitely a Howie win. The corners playing well is a Howie win. Them playing to the level they have is like is that Fangio? Like, how much of that is Fangio? Zach Bond, to me, is almost entirely a Fangio thing. I mean, good on Howie for finding him and for signing him. Could that have also been Fangio kind of pointing in that direction, saying, I think I could turn that guy into something special? Thomas Brunson checks in on YouTube. Says, good morning, chat. I'm ready for us to put belt to ass this Sunday. Chris Freed with a stat. Mahomes and Reed are 8-0 against Fangio. This is the 5th time there's been a coaching rematch in the Super Bowl. The coach that won the first game is 4-0 in the second. I got news for you. There's always a first. Always a first. Fangio's defenses, if we went back and looked at that 8-0 heads up against Mahomes and Reed, I don't remember all of those teams. But, there's Miami in there. And Miami's defense was nowhere near the level of this Eagles defense. So there are historical trends that I go, oh, that's interesting. And then there are historical trends that I think are total bullshit. Like if you were to like go back and say these teams, I don't know. I'm going to make up a stat. The Eagles and Chiefs met in 1975, and it was also 64 degrees outside. And, they were playing in a dome. Like, that shit doesn't matter. The part about the coach who won the first Super Bowl winning in the rematch as well, that one to me has a little bit of historical merit. Because in this case, you'd say, all right, you have two teams that are in some ways the same, but on the Eagles side of things, very different personnel-wise. You have two different coordinators entirely with that head coach. I don't necessarily put quite as much into it, but like Andy Reid is still a very good coach. That hasn't changed. Spagnuolo is going to be the thing that maybe is a difference maker. A lot of this is going to come down to whether or not they get Saquon going or not. We'll keep going. Ford says, Chiefs do have the coaching edge. Spags and Andy over Nick and Kellen for sure, but hoping Fangio can make the difference versus Gannon. I think that's fair. It's a totally fair critique. Let's keep going. Thomas says, we're going to come in and take this game. Kansas City ain't going to die easy, but they won't make it out alive. Just watch. See, I love this. Thomas's positivity this morning. We love that. Gotta love it. Connor wants me to give a public apology to Nick Sirianni. If Sirianni leads this Eagles team to a Super Bowl win on Sunday, which I expect him to, I will apologize on Monday. Jim Cochran says, I think the Eagles have the better roster, but Kansas City's coaching staff is a clear advantage. Do you know what that means? Neither do I. I think Fangio and Spagnuolo are a lot closer than people might be giving them credit for. Is Kellen Moore as good of an offensive coordinator? Or does the Sirianni-Moore combo outdo Andy Reid in his OC in aggregate? Probably not. It's close. I don't think that the coaching matchup is quite as lopsided as you might think. I think Andy Reid versus Sirianni heads up. Very clearly. I think if you put everything together, it still favors Kansas City, but I don't think it's like a huge blowout. Joe Papel very much in the mentality that Reid, Mahomes, and Spags are going to be the difference in this game. Not a good matchup with those three. Landro says, the last time Trump won the presidency, the Eagles were 1-0 in the Super Bowl, so there's that. There you go. I think we talked about that stat a week or so ago, but there is truth to that. In fairness, there's truth to. If you want to go the political route here, last time Trump was president, the Eagles did win the Super Bowl. When Biden was the president, the Eagles lost. It was very sad, very sad. We'll see how it goes on Sunday. Apparently, Trump is going to show up at the Super Bowl, and who was that? Jalen Hurts was asked about Trump showing up to the Super Bowl, and the media day stuff is always weird to me, like the just shouting questions at the players, and sometimes it's like fan blogs and stuff, and like Pagan, right? Like Kyle Pagan at Crossing Broad, like he asks some questions and like kind of throws out like a go Birds, but he's not there to play the capital J journalist card, right? But Hurts was apparently asked about if Trump attends the Super Bowl, and he said he's welcome to do whatever he wants. That, of course, sent some people in a fucking tizzy, like, oh, Jalen Hurts has to use his platform to speak out, blah, blah, blah. And then there was like the other side that was like, hell yeah, Jalen Hurts, speaking out for freedom. I'm like, oh my God, why does it matter? Who cares? Why does anybody care? Anyway, there was another, oh shit, what was it? There was another thing that I wanted to actually show you guys from Media Day, and I feel like it had to do with Hurts. I'm going to go back over here really quick, though. Henry 3000 says, very, very sad. Bald eagle named national bird now. Eagles by 1 million on Sunday. Landro says, even as a Canadian, I'm good if Trump's win gives us another Super Bowl. Landros, the Canadian Eagles fan. Good on you, Landros. By the way, glad to see that the trade war has been halted. I know a bunch of Canadians, and some of them were like really freaking out. Like, screw you guys. Screw you guys trying to do this, We're We're going to start buying our own products now. See how you like that. I'm like, I don't care. It's okay. You can like buy Canadian. There was a really good sketch that was going around. It was a sketch comedy. And it was somebody like yelling at his fellow Canadian for like buying American products and like putting them back and grabbing other stuff. And then they get to the checkout line and it's so much more expensive. And then the guy's like, yeah, I'm going to have to put everything back except for like the one box of cereal. Just wild. Wild, wild, wild. Jim Cochran says, politics, the most popular team sport in the US of A. It's true. Obozo says, will Trump be sitting with Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl? I have to be honest. I absolutely hate with every fiber of my being all of these stories being written about. Should the Eagles fans somehow convince and remind Taylor Swift that she was an Eagles fan before she was with Travis Kelce? Should Eagles fans remind her of what it was like? Should they remind her about her Eagles fandom? And then there are people going like, was she ever really an Eagles fan? And I'm like, oh my God, why do people care? I don't listen, I get it. Taylor Swift, very popular, talented. It's great. Why does anyone care? Why does anybody care if she's betrayed her fandom? Why? Now, maybe it's because she doesn't like Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's because she doesn't believe that Jalen Hurts has it in him to be one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League.